I'm looking at my hands and my arm. I don't know if I'm entitled to get the coronavirus vaccine. I think I'm technically white. Because of my Southern Italian ancestry, Sicilian, I'm a little swarthier, Maybe this will bump me a little further up the line to get the vaccine, because the vaccine now is not going to be given out based on your age. It's not going to be given out based on your risk factors for catching this virus. It's not even going to be given out based on your professional risk factors. It's going to be given out whether you're in a favored race or a disfavored race. And according to the New York Times, if you're white, according to these public health experts at Harvard, at all of these elite institutions, if you're white, you don't deserve the vaccine. And the premise here is that we're all going to die from coronavirus. It's so super duper dangerous that you got to lock yourself in your room. We have to wait for the vaccine. So what they are saying, the experts and the media, they're saying that if you're white, you deserve to die. You don't because of historical injustice. That's the catch-all phrase. You don't deserve to have this life-saving vaccine. I have questions about how deadly the virus really is. We were told initially that, this was extraordinarily deadly. Then we have studies that show 99.7% survival rate. So got questions about that, got some questions about the vaccine. But nonetheless, according to their premise, that is the new American caste system. And the CDC is backing it up. According to the Daily Mail, the CDC has, quote, advised states to consider ethnic minorities as a critical and vulnerable group in their vaccine distribution plans. This is already in effect. Half of the nation's states have plans that prioritize Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous residents over white people in some way as the vaccine rolls out. According to the Daily Mail's analysis, 25 states have committed to focus on racial and ethnic communities. But only, obviously, not all, everyone has a race, everyone has an ethnicity, so only some favored racial and ethnic communities as they decide which groups should be prioritized in receiving a coronavirus vaccine dose. This is absolutely disgusting. This is against the law. This is criminal. The people who are putting this into effect should be brought up on charges for it. It's absolutely outrageous. They won't be, because no matter how much you hear the left talk about color blindness, racial justice, racial equality, they don't want that at all. What they want is a sort of what you would call inverted racism. It's just racism. It's just bigotry that disfavors white people and Asian people, who now, by the way, for many institutions are being counted as white people. I don't know how they had that unfavorable title foisted upon them, but that's where we stand. And they would favor other races. Now, this is so disgusting. This is so vile and anti-American that the CDC is walking this back. So after the hubbub over all of this, they said that, okay, now Americans over 75 should be able to get the vaccine along with the essential frontline workers and the favored races, which is an improvement, I suppose, but it's still not enough. We know that people who are 65 to 75 are at a higher risk than frontline workers generally. But if you're 65 to 75 and you're white, then you're not permitted to get it, according to these reports, according to the CDC. Does not fully address the issue. Now, it's very easy to say that this is hypocrisy, right? And I think most of the conservative criticism of these disgusting policies is that it's hypocrisy. It's actually not hypocrisy. To use a phrase from the great Harvard law professor Adrian Vermeule, when the left does all these kinds of crazy things, it's not hypocrisy, it's hierarchy. The left, we always talk about, the tolerant left, or, the race-blind left, or whatever. When I listen to leftists today, they don't really talk about tolerance all the time, at least not in the way we understand it. They're not really talking about racial equality in the way that conservatives would talk about it. They are actively coming out and saying, no, we need to prioritize certain favored groups over other favored groups. We don't want equality. We don't want fairness. We want a kind of reverse caste system for the alleged historical injustices. That isn't hypocrisy. To give the devils their due, to give the leftists their due, they are explicitly saying, white people have had too many advantages, so now we're going to give them disadvantages, even if that means that you've got this vaccine that we're all telling you is very, very important to get. Well, you're not getting it. Too bad. That's because of your race. Now, the CDC is walking this back because it's just too far, even for where the country is right now. But all it is doing is testing the limits of ideology, right? All it's doing is seeing how far can we push our racial grievance sort of politics.